boom, boom, going. Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another oh-so-delicious list, and this time I'm very excited to be talking about my top 90 player elimination board games of all time. So a player elimination game, just for you, those of you who might not know, is when you can literally be knocked completely out of the game and you are done. Like, you can go do whatever you want, you are out of the game. Now this, I feel like, is a very double-edged sword in game design. I know a lot of people really poo-poo on player elimination games, but for me personally, I think it can create an extra sense of tension in a game that can otherwise not be achieved. Think about King of Tokyo, a game that most people have played, a very light, gateway-esque game. But think about in the past when you've been on a roll where someone could eliminate you. They get, say, 4 claws. And how intense that is. Just, oh my gosh, they've got the 3 claws, they've got the last roll, will they get it? And oh, they got it, or oh, they didn't get it. It's really hard to create that sense of tension without player elimination. But that being said, I've played 90 player elimination games, and I'm going to rank each and every one of them in these 6 categories, which are the great, the good, the forgettable good, the meh, the forgettable bad, and the bad. Those are just the games that I absolutely cannot stand. And we're going to go into detail about each and every one of them. Now, also, how did I get to 90 games, you may ask? Well, that's because I went to BoardGameGeek.com, the best board game website on the planet, and you can search games specifically by their category, and so these, I went through every single player elimination game, I went through every single player elimination game, which was literally thousands of them, and found the 90 that I've played. They're here, and now we're going to rank them. So without further ado, let's talk about King of New York. Let's just get it out of the way. It's a big one. I remember King of New York. If you are newer in the hobby, you might not have heard of King of New York. You'd be like, what? There was a King of Tokyo spinoff? Yeah, this was big. This was a big deal. This was a Gen Con launch. This was a huge one. This was one where people were like running to get King of New York. And it came out and people were like, yeah, it's good. It actually, from a design standpoint, you could argue it's a better game. But it's not what we were expecting. It's a little bit heavier than King of Tokyo. And part of the beauty of King of Tokyo is that it does not stay its welcome most of the time. So for this one, unfortunately, I gotta go in the forgettable good. You know, well, no, here's the thing. I'm never going to forget King of New York because it was such a unique game. So I'm going to put it in the good, but it's going to be towards the bottom of good. I think when it first came out, I probably said it was great. I did one of the reviews, one of the first reviews, and I think I probably said it was great. I think I probably said it was just as good as King of Tokyo, but maybe not quite. And numerous plays in the future have led me to believe not so much. And I think the biggest issue is it's just a little bit longer and more complex than I would like it to be. And there's already another game that's a little bit shorter and not as complex that exists and is spectacular in King of Tokyo. So next we're going to talk about Walk the Plank. This one's a great one. I'm not messing around with Walk the Plank. This is a very underrated game. It's actually in a trilogy of games from Mayday Games. So there's the Get Bit game, which most people know about. It was featured on Will Wheaton's Tabletop. It's about the sharks chasing the robot. And it's a great game. Actually, we're going to talk about it down here a little bit lower. But also in that same series was Walk the Plank, which, if I recall correctly, was a game where you all had the same cards. And you were essentially trying to play cards down to control your little meeples. So they were walking the plank, but you didn't want them to fall off. And you know what? I can't put it in great because I don't remember it in that many vivid details, so we're going to be fair here, and that's going to go towards the top of good. It is a very, very good family game. I'm actually looking at it right now up there, and it's one I'm never going to get rid of because I know every time it comes to the table, it is a hit. I've probably played this 20 times. 20 times it's gone well. Walk the Plank. If you see that one, check it out. All right, next we got, what are we getting? Let's go with this one. Oh, wow. We're starting off hot. Man, maybe I like player elimination games. Oh, but Walk the Plank. Yeah, that's it. You're trying to shove the other people off the plank. You know what? I do remember more about this the more I'm thinking, so we're going to put it in the great. But you're playing cards to try and shove them off. But Battle Goats, also great, and it's going right here. Now, this is a tuck box. This is a tiny tuck box. This is such a weird game. This is on my shelf of games that get played on a routine basis. I believe, because if I recall correctly, it can play up to 6 players. It's dirt simple. So, in essence, this is a game where you're going to get a grid of goats, and I think it's 9 goats, maybe 3 by 3, and every single goat in the game is unique and special and has different actions and different defense, but because it's essentially just oh, look at my attack versus your defense style, very, very simple, lightweight game. However, what makes the game special is the fact that every single card in the game feels special and different and unique and cool, and it has this mechanism that I love in games, and I don't know what the precise name of it is. Hopefully someone does. Maybe they can let me know in the comments. It's that idea that if I just happen to get this card and this other card, you know, no way it's ever going to happen. But if it did happen, oh my gosh, it would be broken, powerful, amazing, spectacular. And just that tantalizing dream of getting those kind of cards. And Battle Goats has some cards like that, which I really do enjoy. It hits every time. It's a filler weight game. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to play. Really simple, easy to learn, easy to teach. Check out Battle Goats. Really good. Also, and that's what I'm trying to get here. This is a similar game to Walk the Plank, if I recall correctly, where you kill everybody else. So eventually there's just one person left, which, you know, is player elimination. But there are some differences. Yeah, I guess that is. I don't know why I'm explaining that. Betrayal at the House in the Hill. I have a very interesting relationship with this one. We're going to put this in the Forgettable Good right now, but that's obviously not going to go in Forgettable Good. This is one of the first games I played in the hobby. And when I first got into the hobby, the first game I played of this, it was broken as hell. We got a haunt that was real bad. So if you don't understand, you've never heard of this game, or you don't know of this game, but you've heard of it, in essence, it starts off like a cooperative game in which you're exploring the house on the hill, and you go through the different rooms, and you find different artifacts and ruins, and you get different statistics and attributes, and it's a lot of fun. But then, at a certain point in the game, you'll trigger something, and it's not streamlined in any way, shape, or form. You'll get to what's called the haunt. And when the haunt happens, one person is essentially going to go away with a book, read that book, while the other people stay together, and it becomes a semi-cooperative game where one person is going to be, or a one versus all game, where they're going to be doing it. But what makes this game so special and unique is the fact that every single haunt is different. And the first one I played was broken. And then I played another one that was like 3.5 hours. Like, I'm not exaggerating, our game lasted 3.5 hours. And I was not having fun in any way, shape, or form. No one was, but it was like, we're gonna finish this because, man, we've invested so much damn time in this game. And so for that, for me, it's a meh. I know it's sacrilegious. Betrayal at House on the Hill. For me, it's a meh. I love it. Game that's not meh, though, is Spy Alley. And this is such a weird game. I see this on Amazon. I've seen this at other stores. And I don't hear anyone talking about this game in any way, shape, or form. And I remember it being good, and I played it with my son, and I still own it, and he had a lot of fun. And there's, like, your spies, and you go around, and there's cool stuff. But honestly, it's forgettable good. I played it twice in my classroom, once with my son in my classroom, and he loved it and wanted to play it again, and I just had no desire to get it back to the table. I really should, because I remember it was good. It was fun. It was just something about it didn't do it for me, and I don't know what it is, so hence the forgettable good category. All right, Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I guess it's player elimination because you kill the other person. This is one of the first hobby games that I ever got to because I used to date this woman and her brother, because I lived with her and her brother, her two brothers, and all of her dogs, and it was, oh my god, it was a crazy point in my life. This was the point where Forrest became a juggalo. Not a hardcore juggalo, but a softcore juggalo. But anywho, I played a little Magic the Gathering in that time period, and it was fun. It was good. I saw all the potential. You know what, I gotta go with great. The more I think about it, it's great here, but for me, Magic is a game that I never really got into, but I could see why it's so appealing. Mage Wars is a game that I absolutely adore because you can make your own spell book, and you can really make your character feel unique with your own spell book. And I got those exact same vibes from Magic the Gathering. So while I never really dabbled too terribly deep into Magic the Gathering, I see why it is a great game, and I agree with that. Alright, Christmas Rush. This is a new one. 2020 release. Came out in the Christmassy time, and this is Spoons, but with Christmas rules. So essentially, you're gonna have these cards. You move it around the table, and if you get whatever it is, 4 of a kind, because it's spoons, you get to grab something out of the middle. I don't remember what the heck it was. Oh, they were presents. They look like presents. But the catch with this game was there were also special cards in the game that when you pass them on, you had to say like "Bah humbug" or "Ho ho ho," or you had to do something Christmassy, and it was actually really fun. I really enjoyed the game, and I'd rather play it than King of New York. It's a really delightful little game. It's going to be one that's on my shelf forever. I'm going to be like 75 years old and be like, hey, everybody, let's play Christmas Rush. And no, I'm not exaggerating. I love that game. You know what? I'm going to be playing this game when I'm 75 years old. I feel like that at least deserves great. But not Magic the Gathering grade. We can't go that far. But no, it's a delightfully fun little game. One that I highly recommend checking out, especially if you have kids. I think they will absolutely adore it. All right, Hide, which stands for Hidden Identity Dice Espionage Game. This was a really odd game from Mayday Games. It was a, you know what? I really enjoyed this game, and it was all about dice manipulation, and you had like this secret board where you hid your dice, and it was cool. And it was, I enjoyed it, and I remember the dice manipulation. I remember there's one thing about the game that I didn't really like, but everything else was really good. And I don't own it anymore, which tells you all you need to know about it. So that's why it's in the forgettable good. It was good, but unfortunately did not stand the test of time, which is why you're probably wondering what the heck the game is. Next, we got King Frog. This one's from Brain Games. And Brain Games, I tell you what, Brain Games is known for Ice Cool. But really, they have some other spectacular games that nobody talks about. And this is a... Man, am I really going this hard on the great? Player elimination games apparently are my jam right now. But this is a really cool game that I've played in my classroom probably 50 times. And I'm not saying that in any exaggeration. The kids went absolutely bonkers for this game. And I remember it's all about you playing down cards and trying to land on certain spots. But as you landed on different spots, you would lose cards. And so it really was such a cool little game. And what this game really... Why I really recommend this as a family game as well, especially if you have, I'd say, 4 people that you could play with, is the kids in my class love this game so much, they made their own version of this game with different components. Like, and they asked me to laminate the stuff, and I actually made a copy of this game, which, yes, is probably illegal, whatever. But that's how much they loved this game, which tells me something, because they played a lot of games in my classroom, back when I had a classroom, so that means a lot. All right, Plumber Pants. So, yeah, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is going ahead of this. This is a mass market Hasbro style game, which is my kids absolutely adore. And I'm going to say it's a very, very good family and children's game. But essentially the premise is you fill the plumber up with water, and then you have to put tools. You hang tools on his belt, and then eventually his belt will trigger, and his butt crack will fall out, and he'll squirt water out of the toilet, and it squirts everybody. And it has a pretty good range. It has a very good range. If you have kids between the age of 4 and, like 10 years old, Plumber Pants will be a hit with your kids. Guarantee it. Also, put some yellow food coloring in the water. Play it outside. You can get a little fun with that, too. What do we got? Next one, Rooster Rush. So Mayday Games is a company that I really do love, and I think they make a lot of very good family weight games. Rooster Rush, I remember being a good family-laid games. Let's do this. Drunk, love it. I'm not drunk, but I am something else. I'm high on life. Rooster Rush, though. This is a game... this is a really ingenious game. I think it was from Antoine Bauza, of all people, where you spun a coin on the table, and then you had to do something really fast. I don't remember what the hell you were doing. It was a really weird, gimmicky game. And normally with gimmicky games, they're not forgettable. Like, that's the thing. But with this one, it was forgettable, because I don't even remember what you're doing. I think you were trying to get a rooster across the road so they wouldn't get hit by a car or something. You know what? This is good. I can't put it in forgettable good, because I remember how bizarre this was. I remember doing an interview. I think it might have been with Antoine Bauza. Can I zoom in on that? I can't see. I think it was Antoine Bauza, where he was pitching me this idea, and it's just like spinning a coin on the table, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It was just such a weird concept. I love Mayday games. All right, let's do it. Let's get it out of the way. Number 1, with a bullet right now. This is the early favorite. I will say Blood on the Clock Tower is my early favorite. Blood on the Clock Tower is an absolutely spectacular social deduction game. It really does feel, honestly, like social deduction perfected. And I say that, and I know that those are humongous words, but I have a hard time after playing probably about 10 games of Blood on the Clock Tower at Origins. Because, yeah, we decided to check it out last year at Origins. 2 years ago, actually. Ooh, years. They go by now. 2 years ago at Origins, me and my buddy Adam did when we did the coverage. So we played like 15 games in a day. Like, it was just game. Like, we literally just walked like ping pong balls. Oh, is this new game? Can you teach us the whole game? We don't want a demo of just the couple rounds. We want to play the whole game. And we did nothing but play games. And then we'd go back to the hotel room and shoot videos on every single one of the games, doing impressions. And then I would sit in the hotel room and upload them and do all the tagging and the pictures and all the stuff to social media. Because that's what my Origins is. Conventions, I love them, but they are super stressful. And Blood on the Clock Tower Tower really screwed my Origins last year because we went to check it out once. We're like, oh, I'll play one game of it, and then I gotta get back to the thing. And we ended up playing it every single freaking night. It was so good. It's insanely good. It's just, it feels like social deduction perfected. It still needs a moderator, which I know is going to be a turnoff to some people, and that will, and that is something you need to know. And you have to be a competent moderator, but they have a big book, it's gigantic. Blood on the Clock Tower is absolutely going to rock the board gaming world for decades to come. Mark my words. Big praise there. Not so big praise going to Chutes and Ladders. So this is a Chutes and Ladder style game that I played once. I own it. It's over there. I will not get rid of it. I'm actually staring at it right now. Hey, Smirk and Dagger. From Smirk and Dagger Games. This is a Chutes and Ladder style game, but you have, the candy has guns and stuff, and you can blow people up. It's kind of like, it feels almost like a shooter style game, and I actually think it's a pretty dang good game. I would love to see this one redone by someone. I think it is a delightfully good game, and the top of my good category right now. I think I might be I always say I'm a player elimination fan because I love the sense of tension, but then when I think of there's so many bad player elimination games. I don't know. It's very interesting here to see 6 in the freaking great category. Let's get one that's not in the freaking great. Okay, here we go. What is this name of this game? I remember this. Bullets and Teeth. This is the bad category. But you know what? I gotta slot it forgettable bad. Because I don't remember why I hated this game, but I remember hating this game, and I do believe I did a Kickstarter video on it, and I gave it a preview. And remember, if you're a Bowers Game Corner watcher, if you ever see a preview from me, that generally means that the game is not for me. Let's put it like that. The game is not for me, and this was a game that was not for me, and I don't remember why, but I remember being like, oh yeah, because that's the great thing too. When you do when I get a Kickstarter game, I normally do either a review or a preview. And when I do a review, this is kind of taboo, and it's actually got me blacklisted of doing some Kickstarters for some companies. I talk about, this is shocking, don't tell anybody, the pros and the cons. But apparently in Kickstarter videos, you should not talk about the cons, because that's very frowned upon. But yeah, so, and luckily, whenever I play a Kickstarter game and I'm like, oh, and I have to make a video for it, just because I need to make money, and I do it a preview. I play it once, and if it's like really, really bad, it's like, okay, cool, this is a preview. Or if the rules are like atrociously terrible or something like that. I'm going to have to rewind to see why you're wrong about Betrayal in the House on the Hill. Just bad experiences. Risk. This is an interesting one. So I gotta give Risk props. I'm gonna put it in the good category because this is one of the big ones that got me into the hobby. Because when I got into the hobby because of Cards Against Humanity, and I went to the store and I said, hey, what Cards Against Humanity? They said, hey, we don't have Cards Against Humanity. And I said, well, shoot. Gee Willikers. And they said, you should check out Pandemic. And I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, what the hell was this guy doing? Like, those are two drastically different games. I think he just wanted me to play, I think he just wanted to sit there and play Pandemic with somebody. But I sat down with a buddy of mine and played Pandemic, and I bought it, and it just absolutely started my love of this. But the reason why I was open to Pandemic was because I was like, oh, this can't be too complicated, because I played Risk a lot, and I played Risk with my buddies. We used to play Risk Pong, which is where we played beer pong and Risk, and you would just alternate taking the turns, and it's a delightfully fun game, by the way. I really do have very fond memories of Risk, and I don't want to put it in the great, so I won't. But on top of good, I'd rather play Risk than these, and honestly, man, King Frog gets some respect. All right, Battlefold. This is a weird game, and no, so this is a game that's called Battlefold. It actually is about folding, and I don't remember the name of this company, but this is Korean or Japanese. It's an Asian company. I don't know where they're from. I think I think it might be called Happy Baobab. I think that might be their name, and no, I think that's actually how it's pronounced when I was at Essen. I found that out. But this is a folding game where you have to, like, fold, like, a napkin. Like, it's like a silk kind of folding thing. You have to make it into certain shapes. But then, based on how you do it, you also move the pieces around the board. And they have a whole line of folding games, but this is the one with dudes on the board. And I remember it being good, but it kind of falls into the Rooster Rush category where I can't put it on forgettable good because it's an unforgettable game. It was so dang weird. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was just, it was not a game that I was going to play all the time because the folding. Here's the thing about having a folding game. If you're thinking about designing a folding game, think about this seriously. It's that if someone's really, really good at folding, like, they're just gonna kick the snot out of everybody. And because you can't, like, be like, I'm really great at dice rolling or something, or shuffling. Well, I mean, if you're card shark, but... And so I think folding games are never going to see their day in the sun just because of that. So, sorry, folding games. All right, what do we got next? Oh, God! I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to look at it. Oh, the bad. This is, oh my gosh, I want to give you the exact title so that you never accidentally, dexterity. Excellent. Boy, Michael, yeah, dexterity is the same thing. I'm terrible at dexterity. This is Contest of Champions Battle Realm. So, don't be fooled by this game. It looks delightful. It is a Marvel superhero fighting game with, like, these giant King of Tokyo style pieces. Like, I swear, go open another tab, pull up pictures of this game, and you will seriously think about buying it despite the fact I'm telling you it's a giant flaming pile of dog crap. It is so incredibly bad and broken, and I don't even remember, I believe the thing was flying. It, like, flying was completely broken in this game. And this is from Upper Deck. This is like so you're like, wow, how have I not heard of this game? And I'm like, that's because they probably didn't want you to hear. I don't even know. This was not marketed, I feel like, at all. It was at Origins. They had tournaments and actually won a copy of this game. And we played the game in the tournament. We actually, hey, here's a little trick. You go to Origins, they got those tournaments where they give away a game. If you and your friends buy all the tickets, then you win a game, baby! So we do that sometimes. But this was a game where we played it, and we were like, and he was like, what do you think of it? And I was just like, dude, that was a terrible game. And the guy running it was like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan either. And he's like, but who won? Who won the game? You gonna take it with you? And it's so bad. It's just it will be me and my friend's Adam's whipping boy for a very long time to come. And Ronnie, he played it too. Oh, such a bad game. All right, In a Bind Jr. So In a Bind, I'm going to talk very lovingly about soon. It's from I hope I don't butcher this. Behruz Shahryar. He's this really cool person from Europe, and I'm not sure what his gender, what his pronoun they go by, but they have the coolest game designs. Like, they're not all for me, but they're all just so incredibly creative and off the wall and different, and I love them as a game designer, and I'm always excited to try what they have, because they really come at it. It's almost like a Friedman Freeze type of thing. Every time I play a Friedman Freeze game, I know I'm going to be like, man, that was really unique and different. And In a Bind Jr. Is a spin-off of In a Bind, which is a delightful game, but In a Bind Jr. just didn't do it for me, and I don't remember why. I'm going to put it at the top of the Forgettable Good, because I do have a lot of good experiences with In a Bind Jr., but for me personally, I just liked In a Bind better in every situation ever. Like, even with young children, I still think I'd rather go back to In a Bind Jr. I think if I recall correctly, there was like one inappropriate, like, maybe penis monkey, where it kind of looked like his penis was out or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but In a Bind, I think, had like a sneaky penis. Like, what was it? The Little Mermaid, I think, had something like that, where there was like a sneaky penis that someone hid in the art, and they had changed the artwork. And I think there was something like that in the first version. Don't quote me on that, because I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was. Oh, God, are we still in the bad category? Here we go, Garbage Day. Garbage Day from Mayday Games, another company that I absolutely adore, because they focus a lot on family weight games, made Garbage Day. And Garbage Day is an example of a bad player elimination game. But here's the catch. If you house rule it, it's not a bad game. It actually goes into the good game category, I would agree. You might say, wow, that's a big jump there, Bauer, from bad to good. So from 4 Bs to 1 G, that's huge. But the thing was, if you played this at 3 or 4 players, I believe it was a 2 to 4 player game, what would happen essentially is that one person would get eliminated, and then everyone else would keep going. But that could be like 15. It could be quite a while. And I don't remember. You know what? I got to go with Forgettable Bad, because I don't remember what was so bad about it. But I do remember being like, this is just bad. This player count is very bad. Yeah. So, forgettable bad. So, good on ya, Garbage Day. That being said, 2 players I do think was a whole good deal of fun. So, check it out if you're only playing 2 players. Pyramid of the Penguin, which unfortunately did not catch on the way Brain Games was hoping it would. This was a spin-off from the Ice Cool series, where it had the penguins going on a different adventure. It was actually based on a different older children's game, but this one was really cool and unique because it had this board in between us. So, like, you would be on one team, and I would be on the other team, and I could see my side, and you could see your side. And on one side was the Penguin, and you were trying to run through this, like, labyrinth to try and get these different things, but without the Penguin getting you. And you were on different sides and had to do magnets in it. And it's a good game. You know, it is a really good, fun, man, Risk, you got a lot of respect there, man. Yeah, here's the thing. Pyramid of the Penguin is a lot more fun with, I think it goes 2 to 4 players, and it's a lot more fun at 4 and 3 players. 2 players is okay, if I recall correctly, so I'm going to slot it. Yeah, top of the good. Top of the good. Pyramid of the Penguin is a very rock-solid family weight game, and I don't think it sold the way they were hoping it to. So if you ever get a chance to check that one out, definitely recommend. Oh, what is this one? Oh, gosh. Yeah, Gambling and Hookers. Straight to the bad, but you know what? I do remember Gambling and Hookers. I don't remember. You know what? It goes to the forgettable bad, because I don't remember what was bad about this game. I don't remember. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, we'll go here. We'll go here. I want to show this game a little disrespect, because I do remember really hating it. But Gambling and Hookers was not a very good game. And I remember it was like, it had very simple mechanisms. Like, it was pretty much what you expected it to be. You were trying to, like, go gambling and make money, and it was, like, really stupid gambling. I don't even remember what the gambling was. And there was hookers, and you're trying to, you know, do stuff with hookers. You know, stuff you do with hookers. Which it could be anything. I have had friends, and I don't want it to mean that. I've had friends that are prostitutes. You know, so that's neither here to me. You know, I don't care. That's cool. You make your money. I think it should be legalized. But this is not that's not the point of this video. That's a whole different video. But it's just the game was not. It was good. It was not good, and it was bad. So there we go. Family Business. This one, very underrated game. Very underrated. And honestly, I think I'm going to slam it right here to the bottom of great. So this is a really unique game all about mobsters, and you have the mobsters in front of you. You actually set the mobsters up on the sides of the box, and as they got eliminated, you would lose the mobsters, and they'd fall down. It was this really cool. It had good table appeal in that aspect, and I remember there was special abilities, and, oh, yeah. I think I remember enough about, you know what? I gotta be fair here. Gotta be fair. If I can't give you vivid details of how the game is played, I don't feel like I should call it a great game. I own this, and maybe I'll go back and play it and say, yeah, maybe this is great. But the fact that I haven't played this in probably about 2 years. Family Business is a great game. Well, for that, you know, I can't do it. I got to stay honest to myself, truth to myself. But I do think it's towards the very top of the good category. Batman, Gotham City Chronicles. Oh, so we meet again. I thought I would never see you again. Actually, if I ever get to $100 a month on my my Patreon page, I'm going to give away my copy of Batman Gotham City Chronicles, because currently it is in the kill closet. But this, oh, the rules, oh God, the rules. I don't even want to think about them. And I'm going to put it right here. Because here's the bottom. That doesn't seem fair. Because gameplay-wise, it had so many cool ideas. It really did. It's one of those games that if you were playing with the designer, it would be the best game. It would be your favorite game. You'd absolutely adore the game. But if you're not and you have to go through the rules, you're going to hate it. And for that, at least Marvel Champions, while being broken with flying, was still substantially shorter than this. You'll be done with this crappy game before you even begin to get through the rules of this game. So yeah. Oh, the symbols on the dashboard, so don't, just stop it. No, I don't want to bring it up anymore. We're done talking about Batman Gotham City Chronicles. All right, this one is, I think it's called Lie. Unfortunately, they cut off the top and the bottom, but this is from the Pack-A-Game series, which is, they used to come in packs like gum. They were totally small. It was a great idea. Most of the games were meh, but this one was not. This one actually does go in the great category. And I'm going to bump ahead of King Frog and Christmas Rush. That's how strongly I feel about Bluff. Oh, you don't like it. Michael doesn't like it. I really think it's liar's dice. It is really liar's dice, but with these long cards, they're about the size of your finger. And this was a game that I quite honestly used to take with me everywhere I would go. It was in my bag that I'd take to school, that I'd take to college, and I would play this at bars. I would play this all the stinker time. Yeah, lie is liar's dice with cards. That's exactly what it is. But it's in the size of a freaking pack of gum. The fact that I can get 50 to 100 games out of this, and it's the size of a pack of gum, sign me up. Absolutely. Oh, those were the last entry. Yeah, and that's why I really love Mint Tin games. And I tell you what, I think in the next few years, we are going to get our magnum opus of Mint Tin games. There's going to be an absolutely spectacular, beautiful, maybe worker placement Euro-style game that's going to come in the size of a Mint Tin. And it's going to have to be meticulously organized, but they're going to find a way to do it. They're going to nail it, and there's going to be the best Mint Tin game of all time. Much like I would say Blood and Clock Tower is now going to be, I think it's going to be seen as the best social deduction game of all time. But Monopoly! Let's get to it. Big one. Sitting there. I put it on the thumbnail. Yeah, look at that. Because I could maybe get some mass market gamers in here. What's up? Monopoly. I think it's good. I have fun with Monopoly. I've always had fun with the Monopoly one. I have all the pack of games. There's some really good ones in there and some meh ones. Yeah, I agree. Totally 100%. Unfortunately, I think most of them fell in the meh to okay category for me. Monopoly is... where do I put this? Because here's the thing. I have a lot of amazing childhood memories of Monopoly. But I do feel that the best way to play Monopoly is digitally. Just because it takes out so much of just the downtime. It really does. And I remember playing this, I think 8 players, pass and play, on Christmases and stuff with my family. With my dad's side of the family when I was a kid. And those are memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life. You know, those are some of the very few vivid memories I have of my my grandpa and my grandma. They're both passed now. But so Monopoly's got to be up there in the good category if it's making me break. But I can't put it at a shooting ladders. You guys stop. All right, what do we got? Monopoly is better when you actually play the rules as written. Yes, agreed. That's how most games work, unfortunately, as well. But yeah, most of the time people actually play games the right way. But Monopoly, for some reason, they were just like, nah. Twilight Imperium, 3rd edition. Yeah, I guess there is player elimination. That would really suck. Woo! And Twilight Imperium. Wow, this for a long time was my favorite game of all time. And I still tell people to this day that's my favorite board game of all time. But I think the experience is that I haven't Blood in the Clock Tower. Yeah, I gotta put it ahead of it. Wow, that's a shocking revelation for me. They follow the cheap-ass games model, which isn't a bad thing. I agree. All right, what do we got? Costume Party Assassins. This is a really underrated game from Playroom Entertainment, which is like a spin-off of another company who did Drop Mix. It's like an arm of Hasbro or something. I don't understand exactly what it was, but Costume Party Assassins is a really good player elimination game where essentially you're at a party and it's really simple. You roll a dice, you either move someone to a room or out of a room, and then people start dying, and essentially you're just trying to hide your character. And it's a really... I'm going to slide in the great. I think this is a great family game. Love it. Orson can back me up on that. He's the one that reported. Yeah, I can. True. Labyrinthius. Wow. I don't remember a dang thing about this game. This was a Kickstarter prototype. I don't think this one actually got funded. I don't even think this one hit Kickstarter. Let me tell you, when you do a Kickstarter video and they don't actually get on Kickstarter, it pisses you off. I don't care what anybody tells you. You might have some people would be like, some reviewers would be like, yeah, it's okay. You know, that's what... No, it pisses you off. It pisses them off. I don't remember why it was good. I remember it being okay. Okay to good. So I put in the forgettable good. You know what? Forget you. You go into the meh category just for that. Not cool. Assassin Con. This one was actually... I think Tom loved this one. Tom Vassell. But I feel like at this point I can just say Tom and everybody knows who it is. That's street cred right there. That's what's up. Tom, Will. Alright, but Assassin Con, you're essentially walking around like a shopping mall trying to kill each other, and it was just like an assassin. It was the convention where you... And I remember it didn't do it for me. I thought it was okay to good, but honestly, I'm gonna put it in the meh. I remember this one was one where after I got done with the review, I immediately was like, "Yep, you can go in the closet. I never want to play you again." But that being said, I also do remember that the other people who played it with me liked it better. So I would probably say it's probably in the forgettable good to the good category for most people. Ooh, my throat. Cash and Guns. Second edition. Never actually played the first edition. Really delightful game. Gotta put it in the great. Had a lot of good experiences with this. I put it into the same category as Christmas Rush. I think I play this when I'm 75. Yep. Going higher. One more. Yep. Right there. That's how much I love Cash and Guns. I love Cash and Guns. It's just a very simple premise. You get a gun. You point it at somebody every turn, and then you try and decide if they're shooting you or not, and then you draft, and you get some diamonds and some money, and it's delightfully easy to learn, easy to teach, and just a fun little game as long as your group can handle the fact you're pointing guns at each other. And hot diggity dog, I really do like player elimination games. Wowzers. We're Doomed. Yeah, also great. Another great game. And this is a really simple one. It starts off as like a cooperative game, like where and it can be a cooperative game, where you're just trying to get, because the planet's about to explode and you're trying to build a rocket ship and you have to get all the people onto the rocket ship. But along the way, just absolutely insane and crazy and frantic things happen because there's a deck of cards that just has you backstabbing and just consistently changing things, and everybody's laughing and pounding the table and yelling at each other. And it's an absolutely delightful time. And I can't put ahead of Cash and Guns just yet. I think one day, if I get We're Doomed to the table a whole bunch more times, it will climb ahead of Cash and Guns, especially if they put out an expansion, which is just more cards, because the cards are absolutely delightful. But for now, I can't do it. Can't do it. Cash and Guns, OG, you get the respect. I've played Cash and Guns probably 30 times. Every single time I've had fun, even when I'm the one who gets picked on and everybody points the gun at you. Because it happens sometimes where it's just like, okay, they're out to get me this time. Get Bit. Wow, are we going to have room in the great category? This is ridiculous. Get Bit is one of... How do I put this? Get Bit is one of my most successful games I've ever had in my classroom. So I worked in classrooms for 3-year-olds to 12-year-olds for 10 years. Hey, Babs! And Get Bit was undoubtedly the most popular game that I ever brought into the classroom. Every single time it got played, it was a hit. The kids loved the components, and it has this amazing feature in it that I absolutely adore, which is that any person can play it as long as they have hands, and those hands can work. Because literally, you could just pick a random card every single time and win the game. Now, the other people are going to have a slight advantage over you, obviously, but it has that aspect. And so I used to play this with my 3-year-olds. I used to play this with my 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in my classroom, and they would wait in line to play this game. There would be fights about playing this game. That's how much I love Get Bit, and for that, I have to give it the respect it deserves. Wow, I don't think that's kind of crazy to me. Because from game... I can't go that far. But Get Bit has just been an overwhelming success for me. Get Bit. This is what catapulted me into board game notoriety, winning the 10th annual biannual board game Decathlon in 2015. Yeah, I think we all pretty much knew that, Mur. You didn't even need to mention it. We all remember that. We all do. Player elimination in classroom is rough. I find it best with groups as the player. It can be rough, but I am also a very abrasive teacher. You know, I'm loud, I'm boisterous. Not in a bad way, but it was just like, the thing is, they would never think I'm yelling at them because I'm always yelling. Like, just, I'm loud. I'm a loud person. So Growl. This is a very good one. This is a good game, but I'm going to put it in forgettable good. Top of the forgettable good. Because I don't remember what I liked about it. I remember I had it as a Kickstarter game. They never sent me a final copy of it, which I hate, especially when the games are good. But, you know, I don't want to push the issue because I know how stinking busy they are. But this one I remember really enjoying so much that I actually kept the prototype until somebody spilled beer on it. And me keeping prototypes and still playing them after I do a Kickstarter video is very unheard of. But I don't remember if I thought it was so good. So forgettable good you go. Star Wars X-Wing. So, I have played 3 games of Star Wars X-Wing. I have gotten my face stomped in 3 times playing Star Wars X-Wing. And I've had a blast every single time. It's pretty much, you get your pilots, and you're flying around the different Star Wars things, and they have their own different things, and and like there's ways you can measure, and they turn, and it's a delightful little game. And I know it makes a mint load of money for Fantasy Flight games, or it used to for a while. And I think it's a very good game. I think this one, if I put the time and investment into this game, could be in the great category, without a doubt. But it's a very expensive one. And yeah, I mean, I love Star Wars, so I'm going to put this at the very top of the great. I enjoyed it every single time, even though I just got blasted. I'm more of a vintage board game girl, so these games I'm not sure how to play. Well, that's one of the beautiful things about board games now, is that there are just tons and tons of people who do how to play videos. And especially Rodney Smith of Watch It Played is my personal favorite. Every time I watch one of his videos, it's like when I see one of his videos, I'm like, yes, I feel comfortable. I know I'm going to be able to learn this game in the 15, 20 minutes, and I will not have very many questions. So definitely recommend checking out some of those channels. King of Tokyo. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Where do you go? This is probably, this is my top 10 games of all time, and it probably will be forever. I absolutely adore King of Tokyo. Halloween expansion is meh. The Halloween expansion, you can go down to meh with the costumes. It just added, and that was my issue with my issue of King of New York, is it added too many things going on. The Halloween expansion adds one too many thing going on, in my personal opinion. And so that's why I would say that King of New York is good. The Halloween expansion for King of Tokyo is meh, but the power-up expansion for King of Tokyo is absolutely essential, and in my opinion, well, it's not essential, but it is one of the best expansions for any board game, period, ever. If you own King of Tokyo and you don't have the power-up expansion, highly recommend that one. It adds each own character. It has its own asymmetric special abilities, and they're unlocked in a really fun and cool way, a kind of a natural way, which I really do like, and it is absolutely spectacular. Need power? Yep, Michael said it. It needs the power expansions. Do you think Zombie will get a 4th expansion? Oh, Zombie Dice? I wish. I really do. So Zombie Dice, which is not on here, because I guess it's not a player elimination game, but a game I absolutely adore. It was one of the games that got me into the hobby. I don't think so, because I think the 3rd expansion, which was the school bus expansion, I'm pretty sure was a pretty big bomb. I don't think that did very well for them. I get that impression, because it's just, when they reprinted it, if I recall correctly, you know what, I don't want to say that, because I'm not 100% sure of that, but it was not for me. The 3rd expansion was good, but it just added a little bit too much for me. It was kind of like the King of New York, or it was like the King of Tokyo Halloween expansion. It just added a little bit too much. Duel of Ages. This is a game I played twice, and I really wish I played it more. It's a really stinking cool game where you have all these different characters from pretty much everything you can imagine, and they're fighting each other, and it was good, and I don't remember anything else about it. So I'm going to put it at the top of the forgettable good. I do think that, honestly, this would probably go into the good to great category for me if I got the chance to play it more. But the fact that I played it twice, and I've never, ever, ever even thought about buying it, tells me that this is about where it belongs. At least for me. All right, what do we got next? Room 26 or 25. I remember this was one where you were moving around the board, and it was supposed to be like a Saw-style game. I'm going to close my eyes for a second. It was like a Saw-style game, or like maybe like the Labyrinth, where you were trying to go through a maze and try not to get killed. And I remember it was fun. It was good. I guess I'm going to put it at the bottom of the good, because I do remember the theme. The theme was different, distinctive, and neat. It just didn't wow me, but I thought, that was fun. Witch Slapped, another one. I wanted to love this game. I wanted to absolutely love this game and wrap my arms around this game the same way I do with Christmas Rush, because I love spoons. I do. I grew up with spoons. I adore spoons. I think spoons is delightful. When I was a summer camp counselor, we used to play spoons all the time. Get bloody knuckles playing spoons. Love spoons. And Witch Slapped is Spoons, but gamified with special abilities. But I don't remember exactly what it was, but they made it a bit too convoluted for what the game was, and unfortunately, it's in the good category, and I do remember enjoying it, and I think I still even own it, because I wanted to love it so much, but right there. It just didn't live up to everything I wanted it to be. Shadows of Camelot, great game. Great game. Every time I play Shadows of Camelot, I say to myself, dang it, I wish I owned this game. Probably played it 10 times now. Every single time I've had a blast, even when the game goes too long, which sometimes it can. It is a social deduction game where you're the Knights of the Round Table and you're going around and you're doing all sorts of different missions. It's like a poker-style game or a blackjack-style game. There's like different card games that you play around the table, and it's just delightful. And there's swords, and it's a game that I absolutely will play. Like, if anyone suggests it, I will always say yes. And for that, I mean, how high does that go? Yeah, I'd rather play it than this. I'd rather play it than Battle Goats. Get bit. Wow. Shadows over Camelot. Man, I really do love I really do love this game. Ever feel like Magic is your litmus test for your great category? Well, Magic's like a really interesting one for me just because I know how great it can be, but I feel like I only dipped into the surface. You're coming up on 7K subs soon. Yeah, thank you, Helm of the Ant Lemon, who commented on another one of my videos, and so that'll go away. And also, if you're not subscribed, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below, as I'm trying to hit 9,000 subscribers, celebrate my 9-year anniversary of making YouTube content. But yeah, I didn't dip my toes into Magic the Gathering as much as I would like to. That's an interesting one. That's Not Lemonade. Another great one. I can't believe it. This great category is insane. And if you're the first time watching this, I want to assure you, they're not normally this full. People in the chat can let you know. But I think player elimination games are just my dang jam. Because I am just mystified, because I didn't think that there was this many good ones. Because when I make the list, I'll be brutally honest with you, when I make the list, it's like at 2 in the morning when I'm on the Alaboom podcast with my buddy Lance, who does the weekly Alaboom podcast on Undead Vikings channel. You should check it out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people from the gaming industry are in it. And I normally am just going through this list, and I'm just completely zonked out. Man, but I wasn't looking at the games, but I love these games. That's Not Lemonade is an absolutely spectacular little game. It comes in a box that's like this stinking small, and it's got these little solo cups in them, and just like 12 or 13, 15, 20 decks. It's got a deck of cards. And the basic premise is it's a very straightforward press your luck game where you're either going to take a card or you're not going to take a card. And if you take the card, then you put the cup up. And if you take the card, if you don't want to take the card, you put the card down. And if nobody takes the card, then you flip over and you see who has the most lemons, and they win the round. And they win a lemon card, which is in the game, which then changes the complexion of the cards in the game, which can lead to like these really fantastic scenarios where if you're playing at a higher player count, you can get to the last round of the game, and you might start with like 10 lemons in the deck, but there might only be like 2 left. And so somebody might win. It's kind of difficult to explain, but it leads to some absolutely spectacular end game scenarios. Dirt simple. I played it the first time with my son, who I think was at the time 6, and it's still one of his favorite games as well. And for that, I got to show it a lot of respect. And yeah, that's Not Lemonade. That's how highly I rank it. And I wouldn't go as high as this, but honestly, I don't think I'd be shocked if somebody did. I really love That's Not Lemonade. Don't let that one fry under. Yeah, That's Not Lemonade is a great filler-weight game. Absolutely, believe. Hitman Holiday. If you thought Assassin Con was the only board game about serial killers getting together and trying to murder each other, then you've never heard of Hitman Holiday, which was on Kickstarter. And I do believe it got a preview. Which means it was not my cup of tea, but I remember not hating the game. It just wasn't for me. And if I recall correctly, I think you had to go to like the bathroom or something. It was weird. I think you had to go around trying to kill people, but then maybe you had to sleep and go to the bathroom. I don't know. It was a weird game. I remember the rules weren't very good, which was a huge turnoff. And we're going to put it right here behind Assassin Con, because I at least with Assassin Con, I can see, no, honestly, I don't want to play any of these games in this row. Except for you. I want to play you. if I want to play you again, just to see. So this is weird. For me, Betrayal on the House of the Hill is kind of like movies that are so bad they're good, where it's like, yeah, I know the game might be just an absolute dumpster fire and I might absolutely hate it because I've had experiences like that with this game, but at the same time, I've had some good ones. So you know what? For that, I gotta put it at the top of the map. I can't put it at the bottom of the map, but I still can't. It's not. I can't put it in a good category. I've had too many bad experiences. Fold it. So, if you like Battlefold, then you'll think Fold It's a little on the lighter side. Because if I recall correctly, Fold It is like kind of like less going on than Battlefold. No, they were different. They were different. I believe this one, you got like a card that came out and you had to like recreate it by folding this little mat. So you'd have to make a 4x4 thing and you'd have to like fold this handkerchief until you could create it. And it was fun. It was good. And here's the thing. I enjoyed it, and it's not forgettable good. Like, I remember it because it was such an interesting, distinct theme, but, yeah, I'm going to put it there. And honestly, now that I think about it, I'm going to put it right there, because I kind of like the simplicity of Folded over Battlefold. Hard-hitting, folding game stuff here on Bauer's Game Corner. All right, what was a stupid name for a game? What was it? Super Hack Override. This was a very meh game that I was sent in the mail. It was a tuck box, and you were a hacker, and it was boring. I don't remember anything else about it. So I'm going to put it there. But Labyrinthius, for not launching their Kickstarter, still, you get the spot of shame in the meh category. All right, whew. Getting through 90. Let's go. Suro. Suro's a good game. It's good. It's easy. It just never did it for me. Like, it was always just like, okay, this is cool. It's not forgettable, though. I do think it's still an interesting looking game, and it was one of the first ones that I got into the hobby. And Suro, I think, was one of the first games that I really got tired of in the hobby as well. Like, if you want to play Suro now, I would, but I wouldn't look forward to it that much. I'd be like, man, now that we got Suro down, let's move on to something else. In a Bind, though, I do think is a great game, and I've had so many experiences within a Bind. So I volunteered at this place called Aaron's House for Grieving Children. At least I used to pre-COVID. I hope to afterwards. And one of the things that we'd get to do is we would go on these weekend retreats. And there'd be 3 weekend retreats every single year. There was a teen retreat. There was a family retreat where you would actually get to spend the weekend with the family, which was such a cool dynamic because the thing about Aaron's House for Grieving Children is all the children there and the parents there had gone through death. So like every single one of the kids had lost like a brother or the parents or just oh my gosh, some of the stories, man. But we would go on these weekend retreats. And then there was the summer one, which was just like a regular weekend summer camp. And I would bring this game, and it would go over just so fun. And I remember one of my favorite experiences with this game was Beruz, who I talked a little bit about earlier. Gave me a whole bunch of copies to support my channel when I did one of my first Gen Con Bonanzas. And I had a whole bunch of extra copies of the game. And I played it with some of the families at the camps. And I just ended up giving a bunch of the families the games. Power through this. And I remember actually a couple years ago meeting one of the kids. You know, this was like 5-6 years later, and she just talked about how much she still played that game with her family, and that was one of the favorite things that she did with her mom, because her and her mom were fighting just nonstop. Because you know, it was a good moment, and Inabind gave me that. And it's an absolutely delightful game, but I can't put it ahead of King of Tokyo. Can't do it. I do apologize for the outburst of emotions there, but man, games to me, that's why I love games. They're tied to moments, you know, and that's why I don't care if you're great, and I don't care if you're bad, but I don't want you to be forgettable. Man, I can't put Garbage Day in the forgettable bad. I'll never forget that game, but but bad. But these two are worse. All right, Lovecraft Letter. This is a spin-off of Love Letter with really big cards and a bunch more cool cards, and it was cool, and I liked it, and it was good, And I played it maybe 3-4 times, and then, it just never got played ever again. But I do remember it being good. And that's more than I can say about Witch Slapped. Witch Slapped I wanted to be so much better. So I'm going to put it there. Skull. This is a great game. This is actually a game that used to be played on just, bar coasters. And it's just pretty much it's a bluffing game. It's a straight-up bluffing game where you have a certain number of lives and you can get eliminated. And it's dirt simple. It's a great game. Every time I've played Bluff, I've been drinking. And it's just a great little fun game. And it's honestly, when me and my wife end up just going around the country in an RV, I'm going to have limited supply for games. And this is going to be a game that I'm always going to have with me. And be teaching to people all over the country. All over the world. Nay, I'm going to go all over the place. And for that, I got to go in the great category. And wow, I absolutely stinking love, but not Christmas Rush. Great. I have great. I already know I'm gonna have spectacular moments with my grandchildren with Christmas Rush. Skull is interesting because you can decide to not die. It is. Yeah. The game is deceptively delightful. All right, Dracula's Feast. This was from, I believe, Jelly Bean Games, who is another company that makes some family games. Some of them I really do enjoy, and some of them I'm like, yeah, these are okay. And Dracula's Feast, I did a Kickstarter video for it. They didn't send me the final copy, but it was good. I don't remember why it was good. I remember there was different characters with different special abilities, and they were themed after Dracula, so there was like Frankenstein and stuff, but top of the forgettable good. Because I don't remember a dang thing about it, and I'd rather play Duel of Ages. And I remember Growl being better. But that's where you go. All right, so next we have Boomo. This is a mass market style party card game, which I don't know why it's more popular. I don't remember much about the game, so I guess I got to put it in forgettable good. But I feel like that's really unfair. So I'm going to put it in forgettable good, but I'm going to put it at the very top, show it some respect, and give it an asterisk. Because as I say, I bring a lot of children's games into my classroom, and this one the kids loved it. They absolutely adored this game. This was one of those games where when I wasn't playing it, and they didn't do this with too many games, because they just didn't want to ask, because if they damaged my games, I'd be like, well, you're not going to play my games for a while then. But this one they actually asked to play without me, because they loved it so much. And I remember that you could explode. It's a really fun card game. If you can hunt it down, check it out. It's Uno weight complexity. But you know what? I can't do a forgettable good. Oh, thank you very much, Mur, for the super chat. Much appreciated. 999. Happy 9th anniversary, Bowers Game Corner. Thank you so much. I would not be here if it wasn't for all the people who watch the channel, because I love talking about board games, and I'm glad that you enjoy listening and partaking in the discussion of board games as well. So thank you so much. Boomo. It's good. It's good. It's good, and I'd rather play it than Monopoly and Tsuro. And that's why I couldn't put it in the forgettable good. Because I feel like I only need to have details on the great. Good, I remember the feelings I had in this, and I remember how much the kids in my class loved it. Oh, gosh. This one's called Arsenal. This one. Let's go back to the Labyrinthius thing, where they didn't launch a Kickstarter. I don't remember if they didn't actually launch the Kickstarter, or if it failed miserably. Because I don't think this game ever got made. I do not. So it's got to go down here and I remember it being mad. I remember actually not liking the game. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I gave it a preview. So for that, I got to go in the forgettable bad. And apparently, forgettable bad is just all Kickstarter games that I did. Kickstarter. This one was this one a Kickstarter? I don't remember. I think Kickstarter. Woo. Okay. What is this one? This is Poker. I'm putting it on here because Board Game Geek said it. I'm going to do it. Poker. It is one of my all-time greats. Yeah, I got to do that. Poker used to be a passion of mine. I used to play poker, no exaggeration, 4 to 5 nights a week at bars. This was in my early 20s when I used to be an ice cream man, and I would sweat all day. I'd get phone numbers. I'd talk to people. I'd sell ice cream. I might even sell beer from time to time. You know, who knows? It might have happened. Not to underage people, because that would be totally not cool. But you know, you go around and people are like, "You got any beer in there, SA?" I'd be going through trailer parks and going through different neighborhoods. I'd be like, "Got any beer in there?" And I'd be like, "No, should I tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." And I was like, "Okay." But you know, I was like 20, 21. But then after that, I would go out to the bars every single night. Because I would have cash. When you're an ice cream person, you get cash at the end of the day. And I would play poker. And there'd be some nights that I would win hundreds of dollars. I used to go to this underground poker place. It was great. It was like a family. We used to have crock-pot get-togethers where we'd all bring different crock-pots. We'd play poker and we'd gamble. But then they got robbed like 3 times, and it got less fun. But still, poker is just... And I go back to the very beginning, when I talked about the King of Tokyo example, where the player elimination aspect. Imagine that absolute tension. So in this time, it's a die roll, but in poker, it's a card flip. But it's not just a card flip. Like, if you think about it, it has a stand-up card flip moment in poker. And that's what you expect of, like, a really... when you're gambling with money, right? But there's also other aspects to the game, because the bluffing, and if you play poker, and if you gamble in poker, there's a certain feeling that you only get in poker, which is that feeling when you bluff, and when you bluff big, and you just have to keep the most stone-cold face locked in while secretly you are worried that they can hear your heart beating because it's beating so fast. And then either they call, and you're like, "Oh God, no!" Or they fold, and you're like, the fact that I can so vividly recall this moment that I've hundreds of times, despite the fact that I haven't had this feeling in years, because I haven't played poker in quite a while. Yeah. But it's just, I adore poker. Gotta give it respect. Number 2. But not Blood on the Clock Tower. I gotta be frank here. Blood on the Clock Tower is absolutely gorgeous. Spectacular. Stupid Deaths. This is not a very good game. So they wasted this IP. And I gotta go with bad. So if I recall correctly, it was like if you were at certain player counts, it was just like, it was stupid. It was like absolutely preposterously stupid. And it just boiled down to, hey, we've got the Stupid Deaths IP. What should we do with it? How about we just put a bunch of Stupid Deaths on cards, and it's like a trivia game, and you can move around a board or something. Dude! You get a raise! That's a great idea! And this is in Meijer, and this is in Target, and it's just not good. It's not a good one. Big Book of Magic. This is a game. It's cooperative. It's from Yellow. My buddy Ronnie used to love it. It just wasn't for me. And honestly, it's in the good to bad. I remember enjoying it every time. And I like it better than folding or spinning. But no, I would rather play King of New York than Big Book of Magic. It wasn't for me. I don't remember what exactly it did. But I do, you know what? Forgettable good. Because here's the thing, I've talked about this game like 3 times on 3 other lists, and I still don't remember that much about the game, despite the fact I probably played it 3-4 times. It just wasn't for me. Alright, Secret Hitler. Great. This great category is just absurd, but every single game in here, in my personal opinion, deserves a spot. Secret Hitler is an absolutely delightful social deduction game. Where you're either going to be on, what is it, the fascist or the non-fascist, and it does social deduction really stinking good. It has some very clever ideas with when you get to see different cards, and so you can kind of deduce how much information. It's really good. You know, I can't go great. I'm going top of the good, because here's the thing, I've played this like 7-8 times, and I can't really describe the inner crunchy mechanisms. I was trying there. I was failing there, and so I must put it into the good category. You do not deserve the great category, when I don't remember that much. We didn't play test this at all. So this is a really stinking interesting game. Where you flip over cards, and then it's just like crazy, wacky stuff happens. And I don't remember the crazy, wacky stuff. I actually had we didn't play this at all, Legacy game too. And we played it for a while, but then the game night started to break up because people broke up because they were dating, and then somebody moved, and then it was just like, oh, well, now our custom game just, yeah. Say Leffy. But anyway, we didn't play this at all. It was good. It's fun. But I gotta go Forgettable Good. Top of Forgettable Good. Because I don't really remember much aside from the zaniness. Asmati! Shout out. Exploding Kittens. So, you want to hear a fun story about Bauer's Game Corner? Well, I always am trying to look for different ways to expose Bauer's Game Corner to new people. And so Exploding Kittens was doing one of their updates where if you sang a song about exploding kittens, then you would potentially unlock some stretch goal. Now me, being a person who's like, you know what? There's a bunch of board gamers who are really interested in this right now. I should probably do a song on exploding kittens on Bauer's Game Corner to try and cross-promote myself with their $1,000,000 Kickstarter, which in theory was a good idea. However, in practice, I was a noob back then and didn't know how to tag things or share things or just tie my shoes. I was very incompetent for a long time on Bauer's Game Corner. I do apologize. And for you, those of you who stuck around, you are amazing. But with this one, I did a cover of Brian McKnight's Back at One. One, you're like a dream come true. That song? I don't want to sing it too much. I don't want to get copyright. But I actually did it with Exploding Kittens. And I believe I was singing with a wig on into this Carlton Fisk statue. Yeah, it's a really weird one. But hey, that's Bauer's Game Corner, right? Anywho, I remember thinking, oh, this is okay. Nah. Yeah, I'm going to go with the okay. So, forgettable good. I don't remember much about it. I remember there's like exploding kittens, and you had to play cards to defuse cats, and I was like, alright. I can see why people like it, but not for me. And yeah, I'm going to put it there. I'd much rather play Spy Alley. And actually, Spy Alley goes ahead of Hide. I've been looking at that for a while, and I just made the decision. Good Cop, Bad Cop. This is a great game. I did a Kickstarter for this one. This might be one of my favorite Kickstarter videos, games that I ever did a Kickstarter video for. I will say that with the expansions, it bloated it out a little bit. There's so many different ways to come back to life now, which kind of cheapens the player elimination aspect of this game to a certain extent. But I must say, the crowning jewel of Good Cop, Bad Cop are without a doubt the inventory cards. And the inventory cards do all sorts of crazy, zany stuff. They can bring you back to life. They can kill people. They can steal their guns. They can drop their guns. They can sick the dogs on them. You know, they do all sorts of bananas sort of things. And I love this sort of game, and I think it's a great game. And honestly, I gave it a Bauer's Best Seal, and I stand by that Bauer's Best Seal. And in fact, this is the only game in existence that I know of that actually has the Bauer's Best Seal on the cover. And I remember being in, what was it, Amazon, or not Amazon, with Barnes & Noble and seeing that for the first, and I was like, oh my god, that's me! And I took a picture, and I probably looked like a total moron, but I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm in the mall, and there's my face on the logo! Like, that was a really cool moment for me. I agree. Got a little too bloated. The base game is all you need, really. I will say, I do like the most recent expansion, which turns it into a legacy-esque game, where you play over a couple different games, but you can, like, level yourself up a little bit. I actually did really enjoy that a good deal. Go check out the thoughts from the, not from the Thoughts from the Corner, the Skip the Rules on that one. That was actually the first Skip the Rules video I think I ever did, was for that. Alright. Oh, what is this? Rock, Paper, Zombies, I think it's the name of it. I don't remember what it is. If you really want to know, it's a Steve Jackson Games one, where there's like, it's like rock, paper, scissors, but there's zombies. And I was like, I remember I was at a convention, and we were waiting for someone to come. It was like a local convention, and if you've ever been to a local convention, if they're not well ran, it's actually kind of humorous how bad it can get. So this guy was just sitting there at the table, and he was demoing this, and I thought he was I don't even know. It was a bizarre story where there was a guy who wasn't actually supposed to be there running the game, and he was still running the game, and when they asked him, it was weird. But yeah, Zombies is good. It was okay. It's forgettable good. But it's short, and it's sweet, and I knew it complete, so I'll put it in front of the big book right there. Alright, Loop and Chewy. Great. I mean, I gotta be frank here. Loop and Chewy's a delightful game. And honestly, Loop and Chewy, to me, is a game that I really need to get this one little piece for. So, some ingenious person designed a piece that would allow you to, like, strap together 2 Loop and Chewies, if I recall correctly, so you could play with more players. And so you could essentially play 2 copies of the game at the same time and bump up the player count. But Loop and Chewy is like Loop and Loop. If you don't know that, essentially there's this little thing that just it flies around like this, and Chewbacca's flying on it, and then you can, like, you take like boo, and then he will like shoo shoo. So there's like a motor in it, and you're trying to get Loop and Chewie to like jump over your stormtroopers because you don't want your stormtroopers to get hit, and the last person with stormtroopers left is the winner of the game. It's never went badly. This is a little bit like Get Big, where every time I've played it, everyone has had fun, except for when kids get a little too frustrated. Maybe they bump things too hard, and then pieces come off the side, which is why I do have to ding it a little bit. And yeah, I'm going to put it to the bottom of the great category. But if when I eventually do get that piece and another copy of Loop and Chewie, because here's the beautiful thing about Loop and Chewie. I think I got my copy for like $12 on Amazon. It goes on sale from time to time. But it is a great one to check out. I had one of the best experiences with Lovecraft Letter. And you know what? That's interesting you said that, because I also have a buddy of mine, Lance, who, this is one of the games that they talk very, very fondly about. So Lovecraft Letter, for me, I slept on it. And I still have it somewhere. I think I might have lost it in my classroom. I didn't make content on it. Oh, I'm so bad. But yes, I do know it's a very liked game. Speaking of Lovecraft Letter, let's talk about Love Letter. Which, once again, I gotta go with great. I gotta go with great. Because I have played Love Letter 100 times. This is not even hyperbole. I've played Love Letter 100 times. This is one of those games that I always brought with me on those weekend trips when I talked about it at Aaron's house. Kids love this game, and it's a nice, because the games that I would bring to these camps a lot of times was in a bind, which I would always have with me, in my fanny pack, so we have to carry like all the first aid stuff. But I would have in a bind in there, I would have Love Letter in there, and I would have Werewolf, Travel in there. And I've played this game to death with kids. Now, that being said, you do need 3 or 4 players. I think you can play it 2 players, but it's just stupid. This is just a dirt simple game of trying to have the highest number, but each of the cards have their own unique special ability. And, I have a hard time now that I'm seeing Lovecraft Letter, which is a better version of Love Letter, up here. Which, but this is a micro game. This comes in a much bigger box, and for that micro game appeal, because I'm seeing a lot of smaller games here. I think the key for me with a player elimination game is, I love player elimination, but you can't outstay your welcome. And I think that really is the key with these style games, now that I'm looking at the games right down here. Great, just below Shadows of Camelot, basic game is just solid. Alright. I agree. Super Mario Brothers. This is a one from USA Opoly, or the OP, or OP. I don't know what the hell they're calling themselves now. They wanted to get away from that USA Opoly branding, because I think their board game people are like, hey, if you actually want to release serious games, it's going to be really hard when you're known for like, what is it, like, Sabrina meets World Monopoly. It's just like, I don't expect great board games from USA Opoly. And I will say, they have done an amazing job, and think about this, of just rebranding. So good for them. But Super Mario Brothers, this is a good little game. Remember, there's I gotta go forgettable good, to be honest with you, because I don't remember what it was good. I remember the kids in my class really liked it. But that being said, it did have the Mario theme, which they just are bonkers about. I'm gonna put it to the top of the forgettable good for me. Loop and Chewie is the 3-player version of Loop and Louie, but yeah, there's a 6-player mod. Yep, that's it, the mod. I need to get that one of these days. I found Love Letter really takes off with a party game crowd. Has that been your experience too? Yes as well. It's because it's really interesting. It's just enough game, but it's still just dirt simple. And I think that's really the key to it. Speaking of dirt simple, Coup. It's the great category is absolutely dominating here. I can't believe this. Coup is, I have played 50 to 100 games of Coup, because I've played in tournaments of Coup. My buddy Jimmy has Gym Con, and at the end of Gym Con, there's always a Coup tournament. I've been in numerous Coup tournaments. And it's one of those games that when you get it out, it doesn't get played once. Like, if you played Coup just once, it's most likely because somebody hated the game. But if nobody hates the game, we just play Coup all freaking night. It's just bluffing, just absolutely simplified. And now the question is, where you and Coup just know. Yes, I do. I will say this. I absolutely adore Coup. We're going to find out next how much I adore Coup, because we also have Coup, the weird, stupid title G42, or whatever the hell they decide to call it, but we'll get to that in a second. But Coup, how high are you going? Yes. Ooh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. There. That's how much I love Coup. Yeah. I really love Coup. Well, that's a great question, Gaming Embuscade. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Coup is cringe. Coup, sorry. It is. So here's the thing. I actually do mispronounce it, not just for the memes, but in my review I did of it, I mispronounced it like 7 different ways. I call it like co-op. Okay. But anyway, this is, stupid name. Coup Rebellion GC4, I don't know, aka, hey, let's make a super generic looking game with a stupid name and see if it sells. So Coup Rebellion I have such mixed feelings about. And I would put it like this. And I put it like this in the review, actually, because I do remember this game very vividly. If you have a crowd that loves Coup, this is a game that you will go absolutely bonkers for. If you have a crowd that wants to play this over and over and over again and really dig into how all the different characters can potentially interact with each other and the different strategies for the different characters, you're going to love this game. I'm a person who would love to have that gaming crowd. However, that is not my gaming group. And for that, I gotta go great. I can't not go great, because this is not about my gaming group's feelings. It's about my feelings, and I absolutely adore this game. I just love going through the cards and just seeing all the different ones. So the basic premise is, with Coup, you have the main characters that go in there. With this one, you can interchange those characters. And actually, I would love to eventually get the Coup Guatemala, which I think has cooler artwork, but it's the same game. I think it's reskinned. And for me, I can't go that high, because I never got to play it as much as I did. I probably played this like 10 times. But I would love to. I want to play it so much more. And so I'll put it right there. Put it right there. But the great category is overflowing. I gotta get a bad one. Where's the bad? We got any bad ones? Okay. Conan. Hey! Remember that talk we had about Batman Gotham City Chronicles? We're having it again with Conan. But here's the difference. With Conan, I didn't have to read the rules, so I didn't have to deal with the first-hand, absolutely god-awful experience. My buddy Ronnie did. And Conan, once again, had so many cool ideas. It had minis and just cards. And, top of the bad. Yeah, it really should be top of the bad, because it is. It's such a good game. And honestly, Batman, I'm going to be frank here, Batman Gotham City Chronicles probably deserves to be towards the top of the bat as well, because the actual gameplay itself, part of the reason why it was so fidgety was because they put in so many cool mechanisms. They wanted to make it feel like Batman, and I get it, but you got to streamline that somehow, and they didn't. Yeah, Conan's a lot of fun, though. But wait, Conan can be a lot of fun, but it's also can be very, very, very bad and drag on forever. Unlike Bang the Dice game, which gets a lot of love. I don't think I love it as much as everybody else. Every time I play it, I'm like, yeah, this is good. I like this game. This is fun. I like it better than Bang. I like rolling dice. And then after I'm done, I'm like, okay, we can go on to something else. Like, I'm that guy. You know the person I talked about in Coup? Who was like, the only reason you're not playing Coup once is if someone was like, I'm that person, but with Bang. Bang the Dice game. One's good for me every few months. It just didn't do it for me. But this is one where I do want to dig into the expansion one. I know they have a zombie expansion, which I'd like to try. So for that, I'm gonna put it at the very top of the good. Because here's the thing, I remember more about Bang the Dice game than I do about Secret Hitler. And I still own it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just quicker than Bang, more random, pretty okay. Yeah, quicker than Bang. Bomb War Skull. So once again, this was another one where I'm pretty sure I did a Kickstarter video, and shockingly, they didn't do a dang Kickstarter. I think they did it like print on demand type thing where you could buy it off Game Crafter. I think they actually, if I recall correctly, and don't quote me on this, or do, I don't really give a damn. But I'm pretty sure they bought a bunch of copies from the Game Crafter, and then I think they were like trying to resell them, and it was just kind of like, why don't you just let people order it from the Game Crafter and like take out, I don't know. Because they were selling it online. It's not like they were selling it in a booth or something. It's just weird. It wasn't very good. It was forgettable bad. I remember you moving around a board, you had lasers, and you're shooting people, and I remember I'd played it rather than all three of these games, but I don't remember anything about it. Except for that, I think it did have a cool die. I don't remember what the die was. Welcome to the dungeon! We've got a fun game! Yeah, welcome to Dungeons. Good to great. I'm going to put it top of the good. Yeah, I think it's bumping. Bang the Dice game. It is a really quick 15-minute game from Yellow. There's also Welcome Back to the Dungeon, which is a standalone expansion, which means you can mix it with the old one or you can play it by itself. I haven't played that one, but it's to press your luck, how deep do you go in the dungeon type of thing, and you're grabbing, I think, armor or gems and stuff. And I every time I play it, I'm like, dang it, I really like this game. And it's one of those games that I know if I got it in my collection, it would probably get bumped into the great category because of how much I would probably get to the table, because I think my wife would actually enjoy this game, and so would my 7-year-old. 8-year-old. He's 8. Oh my gosh, I'm so old. I'm getting old. But for now, it's the top of the good. Don't quote me on those two. I really don't give a damn. I don't think the guy from War Skull's coming at me, you know? And if he does, we can talk, but I just don't think so. All right, good. Let's get some stuff down here towards the bottom part. Right? Look at this. I look like such a phony right now with all these great and good games. Terrors of London was a game that I really did not enjoy. And this one, I played at Origins, and it was from Colossal Games. And I'll be frank, this is the only Colossal game I think I've ever played. No, actually, I did play one back when it was in a prototype, and I actually did enjoy that prototype more. But Colossal Games, they haven't wowed me, but I've only played 2 of their games. But anywho, this is a deck building game where you're attacking people, and remember, it was just so bland and generic, and we played it, and we were like, oh yeah, I'll be cool if we don't ever play this again. And for that, I'm going to go right there. Because at least I remember War Skull was just boring. Alright, what is this? Fluff. So, yet again, with Liar's Dice, and Liar's Dice is not actually on here. Is it on here? I don't know, we'll get to it. Surprise. Fluff is a game where and I talked about this last time, actually. They were like, what if we take Liar's Dice, make it less players, and just make it about weird hipster animals? And they put it in Target, and it was fun. It's a good Liar's Dice. It has good components, but I can't recommend it over regular Liar's Dice because the regular Liar's Dice goes up to 6 players, and I don't know. So for this, I'm going to put it in the good category. Right there. Because Liar's Dice, I just think, is a game that's better with more players. Come at me, bro. Game of Thrones. Delightful game. This is the first edition, but I don't think I've actually played the first edition. I've only played the newer edition. But I played this probably 3 or 4 times, and every single time I've absolutely adored it. It's got backstabbery. It's got treachery. It really recreates the feel of the game. The houses feel different. I felt like the mechanisms in the game made sense to the TV show and movie, and it just makes the game easier to understand and learn. And also, Fantasy Flight Games has a great video series that will teach you how to play the game. Now, it's going to take you like 30, 40 minutes to sit through the video series, but once you get done, you'll know how to play. So definitely recommend checking out that one, because otherwise it can be a beast of a game to learn. And for that, you know, how high am I climbing here? Not King of Tokyo good, but Game of Thrones good. Isn't that just basically diplomacy rethemed with one extra type action or something? I have never actually played diplomacy. That is one of the games that I would absolutely adore trying out, because I do love player elimination and backstabbing. Can't Catch Me, Olivia! This one is based off a webcomic. I did a Kickstarter for it, and I remember liking this game so much that I kept it in a box that I had that I was like, I'll play this game with my kids when they get older. And then I ended up getting rid of most of those games because I found way better games. So this is in the forgettable good category. And I'll put it right... Yeah, there. No. I'd rather revisit that than Exploding Kittens. Whew. Well, if that's the one where you either attack, hold, move, or one of the things, it is. Okay. The worst game ever. I don't remember this game. I really don't. I don't. Powers Game Corner, the worst game ever. Let's get it. Is it a preview or is it a review? Oh, no, it didn't pop up. Oh, my gosh. Did I exit out? No, I didn't. Okay. You know what? I was going to check to see if I gave it a preview or a review, but to be honest with you, if I don't even remember, I guess that's meh. This is meh. This has to be meh, right? This is what meh feels like. If I don't even remember if it was good or bad, that probably means it was meh. So we go meh, but still bumping a bit of Labyrinthius. Actually, I'd rather play it than this and that. Well, it's pretty good. That's a pretty good... it's not hard to rise in the meh category. All right, what do we got? Werewolf. Okay. Here we go. This is where we have to have a talk. That's not where it's going. I flip-flop for a long time about whether Twilight Imperium or Werewolf was my favorite game of all time. And I love Werewolf. I have played in games of Werewolf that are 50, 60, 70 players. I have moderated games like that. And I love every single second of Werewolf. I do. I absolutely adore it. It creates a sense of tension. And the thing I love about Werewolf, the thing I absolutely adore about Werewolf, is it creates this ecosystem. Oh, Werewolf. I'm talking about Werewolf right now. It creates this ecosystem where it is now socially acceptable to lie to anyone about anything. To get up, and if you're playing in a big group, normally what you do is you form a big circle, to get up, to talk with people you don't know, to have little powwows. I'm not the kind of person who just goes up and talks to you. If we're playing Werewolf, I'm going to chum it up. I walk straight up to you. You haven't talked to anybody, I just walk up and say, hey, what's going on? What's up? We just start having a dialogue, a conversation. What you think? What do you think's going on? I love that aspect of the game. And the thing that just, once again, games that create memories. I can remember so many different experiences from Werewolf. Throwing 2 straight werewolves under the bus. Oh my gosh, if you've never done that in Werewolf, when you're playing with a large group, what you do, when things are starting to get a little bit tighter, is you really spearhead throwing one werewolf under the bus. You do it. Because it makes you look good, and every other werewolf knows it about it. But then, when you do it twice in a row, people start to really say, oh, he's on the come up. He's on the come up. And then the werewolf's like, what the hell are you doing, man? But it's just, oh, it's so good. But you have to make sure, pro strat, make sure the seer's gone. If the seer's there, then they're obviously going to test you, and then the jig is up. But if the seer's not gone, oh, my friends, throw some werewolves under the bus next time you play. It's delightful. But here's the thing. I just said Blood on the Clock Tower, for me, is social deduction perfected, which means hard cap. Blood on the Clock Tower, I do think, is my favorite game of all time right now. I know it's not technically out yet, but I agree with, I think it's Quinn from Shut Up and Sit Down that said the exact same thing, and I am in that same boat. It is an experience game. It is a game you absolutely have to try at least once, I'd recommend. All right, Drinking Roulette. This is a game I actually used to play a good deal back when I used to live in a trailer park with my ex-girlfriend Rachel, and that was an interesting period. Woo, that was before I started doing Bowers Game Code. That was a really interesting period in my life. Now she's a Wiccan, and I hope she's good. I haven't talked to her in a long time. But anywho, but Werewolf is not above poker. No way. Well, agree to disagree. Well, here's the thing. For me personally, the fact that I can get such insane sensations, because the moment in poker where you're bluffing, you can get that same kind of feeling in Werewolf without gambling. And that just, to me, is mind-boggling. Because, it's just I don't want to be eliminated, especially in longer games. If it's an hour-long game, 2-hour-long game, which can happen when you play 50, 60 players, it's just, for me, the different, and just in Werewolf, it's just, here's the thing about Werewolf. There's a lot of other bluffing games, okay? And hopefully I can explain this well. But I do want to explain why I love Werewolf so much. And in poker, there's really a few amazing things that can happen. But overall, they're going to be samey from game to game to game to game to game. Whereas in Werewolf, with the different combinations of personalities, with the different combinations of characters and moderators, there's just so much creative room to lie to other people. And in life, assuming you're not a pathological liar, which, hey, I'm not here to judge, but I'm not, it's just you don't get to lie too much. And if you do lie, it's about stupid stuff. But in this game, it's just like you can lie about anything. One of my favorite things to do in Werewolf, if there's a hunter, is I lean over to the person next to me and say, hey, I'm the hunter. You keep me alive. I don't care if you're a werewolf. I don't care if you're the seer. I will freaking kill you if I die. Cool? Okay. Maybe you even say it to the next person next to you. It's so fun. It's so delightfully fun. Unless they're the hunter, and then you're in trouble. But anywho, Twister. We're straight to Twister. Oh no! But yeah, Werewolf, I love it. But it's not as good as Blood on the Clock Tower. Can't do it. I agree, however, player elimination game with flip players is long, with Aiden Poker is quick. That, fair point. Very different experiences. Twister is... It just never did it for me. I was a fat kid for a while, so, Twister really wasn't my jam. And, meh. Yeah, meh. It just wasn't for me. I played it before, and I was like, it's okay. And I'd rather play it than... Yeah, I would rather go back and re-experience this Betrayal in the House on the Hill to see if it's a good or it's bad. But I'd rather play Twister than all these games. And yeah, I love when I can look at my list and say to myself, yep, Conan, though. Conan, you're ruining this thing. Ugh. All right, anywho, Lost Legacy. This is another one in the love letter-esque thing. It came in like a blue bag. For a while, they did like these silk bags. They were like these plush little bags. Not silk. But they felt silk-ish. These fuzzy little bags. Love Letter came in one. This came in one. There was a brown one, which was like I think it had cogs or something. It was a generic steampunk one. And this game's good, but forgettable good. I remember it did not stay its welcome, which is why I'm going to put it above the new Super Mario Brothers. And I bet you if you go see my review of this, if I did one, I probably was higher on it than I am now. But that's just because, in the end, I'd rather play Love Letter. So if I'm only going to grab one little bag... And as you can see, there's no shortage of small games up here. And it didn't do it for me. All right. Whew, my voice, my throat is killing me. It's all these Kickstarter critiques. All right, what is this? Oh, this one is the Wizard Battle something ridiculous name. It's from Cryptozoic. Essentially, it has this crazy art style. Like, it's very popular because the gameplay is simple enough. And I remember it's like you're wizards and you're fighting or something. I remember thinking, oh, this is good. I played it twice at a buddy's house. I was like, yeah, I don't need to own this. And I would rather go revisit it than there. That's where that goes. If you really want to know the name of it, it's probably going to be on Cryptozoic's front page. I know it's Battle Wizards. And they've had like 2 or 3 expansions. I think they even have a Legacy expansion or something like that. Like that one sells well, I'm pretty sure, for them. Cthulhu Realms. Epic Spell Wizards has no player elimination. Well, then why did Board Game Geek put it there? I don't know. Cthulhu Realms. This is a spin-off of Star Realms. And yes, that's technically the third one, because Hero Realms is also a spin-off of Star Realms. I still think Star Realms is the best game, in my personal opinion. I would then put Hero Realms, and then... Dirty Liars, they are Dirty Liars, BGG. And then we have Cthulhu Realms, which it never really got the love it deserved. And this one was a weird one, because it came out from a different company. I think this one was from Tasty Minstrel Games. And Tasty Minstrel Games made a lot of really small box games, and I don't feel like they advertised them that much. Because if you ever went by their booth at conventions, there was like 50 games that are in this range. Maybe not 50, but I'd say like a solid 10 to 20 games that are in this size box. And most people are like, I don't know what the hell these games are. And it's like, would I rather play a game that's similar like Star Realms? I don't even remember any... You know what? I gotta go to the top of Forgettable Good. I remember enjoying it, but being like, yeah, I'd much rather play Star Realms every single time ever for the history of ever. NFL Rush Zone, Flick and Kick. This is a game that I specifically bought. I actually bought this game because my most popular game of all time is NFL Rush Zone. Which is not a good game. And this was a spin-off game, and my brain was like, hey, people like your NFL Rush Zone video, they're going to like this. And then I didn't know how to advertise it. But the game itself was paper football. That's really all it was. And it wasn't particularly great. I'd put this one in the meh category. I will say, I need to take an 18-second intermission after I do this, and I would rather play this, but I would rather play than Assassin's Con. I'll be right back. Do apologize for that. All right, let's get back to it. Summit. This one was from Inside Up Games. I think Connor McGooey. I love that name, by the way. Did a Kickstarter video for this. It was a mountain climbing game, and I remember people liked it a lot better than I did. And I remember thinking, yeah, it's okay. I don't have Red 7. I've never actually played Red 7. I know it's a smaller box game. I've always wanted to try it because I've heard really good things about it. But Summit, forgettable good. I don't remember much about this game except for the theme. So I'm going to put it right here because I do like that theme. But I'd rather play all these. Alright, what do we got next? Bang, the original. The OG Bang. I own it. Somebody gave it to me, actually. Never played it after they gave it to me. Played it probably 3 or 4 times. And I would always rather play Bang the Dice game. 100%. Remember, this has like 1 million expansions, which add cool stuff, which I'd like to explore, but it's forgettable good. I remember liking it, but the fact that I immediately would rather play a different game than it, is really... There are about 100 rolls in Bang, which just excites me to no end, because I love that sort of thing, but it just was too long. Every time I played it, it was a little too long. And a couple times it was not a little too long. It was just too long. So I'm going to put it right here. I would rather revisit. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give this respect. I'm going to give this some respect because I would like to explore all the expansions. Anytime, you know what? Top of forgettable good. You find me that game group in Massachusetts, Arkansas, that plays Bang every Thursday night. And when me and my wife are driving around the country in an RV, I'm going to go visit that group, and I'm really going to dig into the Bang world. Hopefully, I can find that Coup group and that Bang group, and I can drive my RV up there one day and do that. I don't have an RV now, but that is me and my wife's goal. One day, Bowers Game Corner will go on the road and go to every single friendly local game store and get the behind the scenes of it. Hopefully, if they're still there. Oh, bad game. Hey, cool. We can mess up this. So this one, this is Genesis something. If you type in Genesis... you'll get some good music, and then you'll get this crappy game. And that's the way it should be. But this was a very forgettable, bad deck building game, and I don't remember what was bad about it. I just remember playing it and being like, man, this is not particularly good. And it came out. This was a Kickstarter, and it came out when deck building was a newer thing. Like it was. So this was probably one of the first. I'm gonna guess 30 or 40 deck builders. And it just didn't do... I don't remember why, but it didn't tickle my fancy. That being said, I would like to go revisit it more than London. Oh my goodness. All right. Uncharted board game. Forgettable good. We got a lot of... Man, I really like this genre. Thank you so much, Michael. Thanks for putting up my stuff. I appreciate the super chat because that's amazing. And I'm loving streaming. I gotta say, I am absolutely adoring streaming. It is so much fun. But Uncharted board game, I don't remember a dang thing about this game. I see it right over there, and I would like to revisit it. One day when I get a PlayStation, I will probably revisit this. Because I do like the video games, and I remember enjoying this game, and I don't remember anything about it. So where does it go? Yep. No, not quite Cthulhu Realms, but right there. And that's what the Sanguasha ripoff version that went wild. I don't know what that means. Carthage. Carthage is a deck building game, a really interesting deck building game. This one I was really kind of bummed out didn't become a bigger hit because I think with expansions it really could have been something. And I still think it's a good game on its own. I still own it. It comes in a really obnoxious box like this, which pisses me off. But it's deck building where you're also fighting in a gladiator arena, and it was cool. And I remember enough about it that I'm going to put it in the good category. I can't go in the weeds on the mechanisms, but yeah. Here we go, right? Yeah, I can't put it above family business, but I'll put it right there. All right, Red Dragon Inn. So this is my friend Lucy. You might have seen on Thoughts from the Corner. This is one of her favorite Take That style games. I enjoy it. I think for Take That games, it's better than most. And I do think with expansions, it gets better, but I'd still rather play King of New York. And then, of course, I'd still rather play Plumber Pants. I think that's obvious, though. Legendary Encounters. aliens, and legendary encounters. This is a weird one. I don't own any of these games, but I hope to once in the future because later on, I really do enjoy these games. I enjoy them an awful lot, and I think this one does a great job of telling the stories from the movie, but I can't put it in great. I can't do it. I'm going to put it at the top of good. This is one of those games that I do definitely want to own in the future, and I have a feeling I'm going to consolidate my deck building games into one box one day. It's going to be terrible. Bang was the subject of a lawsuit. A company ripped off the original version and expanded it. Man, I want to play that expanded version. Is it bad? Am I a bad person that I'm like, I got ripped off, but man, I really want to try that rip-off with more stuff. Well, whatever. Yashima! I have strong feelings about this game because I screwed up the rules in a video, and then I went back and edited the video, and it was a giant nuisance. This was a good little minis game, though. I do remember it had different minis. It was from the same people who made Z-Pocalypse Greenbrier game, so I don't think is with us anymore. I think they rebranded to the, whatever the post... I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. So I don't want to speak to it, because I don't know if it's bad or good or what's going on. But Yashima was a minis game, and it was good. And I think I'd like it better if I had more of the expansions, because the expansions added all these different characters and different factions, but I don't remember much about it. And for that, we go right there. 3 more. Cutthroat Caverns. So this was fun. I enjoyed it. We played it twice. I put it in my collection. We shot our thoughts in the corner on it, and I enjoyed it. And said, man, I can't wait to explore more in this game. And now I don't remember a dang thing about it, which means forgettable good. Right to the top. I remember this was a game that I saw had tons of variability, and that excited me. But it was a game that I thought I was going to enjoy more with my kids when they got older. Tuki! This one is from the same people who did, I think, Century Spice Road. And it is... Oh, Space Hulk is delightful. I love Space Hulk. Tuki, though, it's like a stacking game where you have to stack these pieces. And it was okay. It was a stacking game where you had to stack pieces. And that's all I got to say about it. But I do remember enjoying it. And I remember it being simple. And for that, you can go right here. Because I would much rather go back and revisit this than Yashima, because I know Yashima would double the time. Last one. And once again, we are filling up the entire great category. I can't even believe this. Clank. Clank is one of my favorite deck builders of all time. I, unfortunately, have only got to play it 3 or 4 times. But I absolutely adore it every time I play it. I love pressure luck games. I love deck building games. I love the idea of going deeper and deeper and deeper. And this is one of those games that is only going to go higher on my list, I do believe, as I play more of the expansions and try more of the stuff with it. I know there's a legacy one that I absolutely want to play with my buddy Brandon one day. And so it's in the great category, but the question is, where? Where will it stop? Nobody knows. Not even me. Yeah, higher. Yeah, right there. No, I think... Right there, that's how much I love Clank. Nope. Right there. Wow. Which that tells me that if I reviewed Clank, I would give it a Bauer's Best seal. I've never actually reviewed Clank, so I've never given it one, but I would rather... I go there. But there you go. That is my top 90 player elimination games of all time. If you enjoy this segment, please let me know in the comments below any list that you would like to see, as I have numerous folders now on my desktop. I'm working on getting more lists up. I have had some suggestions, which I'm working on, but you got to realize it's going through literally thousands upon thousands of board games. It's kind of a time-consuming thing, but I love doing these lists. I plan on doing them every Saturday night. My wife is giving me the thumbs up on that, so if you want to join next time, please do join. And as always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below, as I'm trying to hit 9,000 subscribers, celebrate my 9-year anniversary, and thanks for your time, YouTube. And the stream, yeah.